Speech
to
right
make sure
now.
that we increased funding for the National Renewable Energy Laboratory by nearly 50% over the last several years. We moved the Bureau of Land Management headquarters to Colorado, opened up U.S. Space Command in Colorado Springs, began to fulfill the promise that John F. Kennedy made to begin construction on the Arkansas Valley Conduit, a promise that he made nearly 50 years ago, that we broke ground on just a month ago. Those opportunities for the people of Colorado are real. And in the midst of a global pandemic, we fought for the relief that Colorado desperately needed, making sure that we had the tests and the equipment that this state had to have in order to get through our pandemic together. And we will get through this pandemic together. A moment ago, I spoke to Senator-elect John Hickenlooper to congratulate him on his victory tonight, to welcome him to the United States Senate, and to make sure that he knows I will support him in this transition any way that I can, to make sure that it's as smooth as possible, and we will assist him with any questions that he might have as he navigates this new role. And please understand, to all the people who supported our efforts tonight, that his success is Colorado's success, and our nation and our state need him to succeed. We need to be united together. So again, thanks to the tireless volunteers who came together from all four corners of our state. It was during the beginning days of the pandemic when I received a letter from someone that I really wasn't sure who it was. I opened it up. Inside this letter was a pair of pliers, and it was a unique thing to include, so I, of course, read the letter. And it was from a soldier who I had visited at Walter Reed Hospital. Just so happened that this soldier was from my hometown of Yuma, Colorado. I didn't think I knew him when the Department of Defense first told me that he had been wounded in Afghanistan and had lost his right arm. But the second I walked into that room at the hospital, I knew exactly who he was. I knew who his family was. I knew who his parents were and his grandparents. And I shared the story of his ancestors that my grandfather had told me, that his grandparents or great-grandparents would walk into our family farm equipment business. They would pick up a pair of pliers and they would test their strength. And he would grab them, he would squeeze them, and they would snap the pin and the pliers to see whether or not they were good enough to buy. And I told this young soldier who had just lost his arm that story. And in this letter, with that pair of pliers, he wrote to me that I had come to visit him, that his ancestors apparently wouldn't buy a pair of pliers unless they stood up to their strength. But he kept that story with him. For the last 5 years, he trained with that pair of pliers that he took with him to remind him of what it took to regain his strength, to train his non-dominant arm to be his new dominant arm. And he's now the only amputee to teach special forces in this country. And he finished this letter with this: sometimes our tools break, sometimes it's our fault. Sometimes they're not flat sturdy to begin with. Sometimes these tools have just been used to the point of failure. Every time, though, what really matters is what we do once that tool is broken. We fix it, we get a new one, or we improvise something better. Either way, we figure out how to finish the job because people are depending on us to get it done. No matter what the outcome of any election is, our nation will always be extraordinary because of people like Captain Duvall. And know that no matter how things turn out, we must always figure out how to finish the job because people are depending on all of us to get it done. As Ronald Reagan once said, the trail was long, but the company was always the best. To the people of Colorado, thank you for this great honor to serve you. This nation's better days are ahead of us, and let none of us forget that. God bless the great state of Colorado and these great United States of America.